back in the early 80s, an ape by the name of Donkey Kong and his son Junior ended up as possessions of the abusive and mistreating carpenter Mario. Taking advantage of his newly acquired pets, the mustached carpenter of Italian descent forced DK to perform for people's amusement in his circus, juggling pineapples while avoiding flames on an unstable barrel. This practice continued until the day Donkey Kong got enough and, along with his son, broke out of captivity. Furious, the free ape sought to seek vengeance on Mario by abducting his beautiful girlfriend. When Donkey Kong kidnapped Pauline and brought her to one of the construction sites in the city, Mario jumped his way to come to her rescue. Despite toying with Mario, throwing the barrels that he had been forced to balance on, and teasing him by bringing Pauline higher and higher up the structure, he could not avoid reaching the top. There, after a brief confrontation, he was brought down to the ground by force. Pauline was rescued, but Mario, who was still not pleased and seeking out Donkey Kong's son, put the angry ape in a giant cage as bait. Distraught, Donkey Kong Jr. set out on a dangerous climb to free his father from the animal-abusing carpenter, and the two left for Donkey Kong Island. On their way, though, Donkey Kong broke into the greenhouse of an individual named Stanley. After causing some havoc, Stanley forced DK down to the ground and kicked him out of the premise. The time among humans had come to a close, but prior to returning back to his wife, as a good father, DK knew that Junior would need some math to make it on his own in this banana world, which he eventually did, finding a partner and giving birth to a son who he named in honor of his bad-tempered father. He, in return, would soon after be renamed by the other Kongs as Cranky for his constant complaints and increased old man rambling. Yeah, the Kongs can be mean, as they renamed his wife Wrinkly because of, well, her wrinkles. Years passed until tragedy struck the Kong clan when Junior disappeared or died by unknown causes. Some say he could have been caught once again by Mario after he kidnapped an older Pauline, that he fell in duty, but to this very day the circumstances of the disappearance of the modern DK's father remains a mystery. Could he have fallen in an internal conflict, or was he lost in the fight against the Kremlings? The latter would make sense, as they soon turned into the Kong's greatest adversary. One dark and stormy night, the Kremlings, under orders from King K. Rool, stormed Donkey Kong Island. After a brief skirmish, captured DK's cousin Diddy, who had guard duty until midnight. From here, they locked him inside a barrel and went on to loot Donkey Kong's precious banana hoard. Angered upon realizing what had taken place, Donkey Kong headed out to first free Diddy, be taught by Cranky a thing or two about how much worse games have gotten now that they were in 3D. That's Cranky for you, breaking the fourth wall before it was cool. After a long and treacherous quest across Donkey Kong Island against the Kremlings, DK and Diddy finally reached and confronted King K. Rool on board his flagship, the Gangplank Galleon. They were successful, and upon return home, Cranky told to see the banana hoard, which had been restored to its former glory. Satisfied, Donkey Kong and Diddy settled down and told Cranky about their long adventure. Though initially impressed by their achievement and sales of Donkey Kong Country, Cranky still blamed the success of the first game for being a fluke, tied to the appeal of the high-level graphics found in the game, and that kids would buy anything new and shiny these days. In order to test if Donkey Kong could handle the 8-bit glory of the good old days, he made King K. Rool steal his grandson's bananas once again. Upon proving Cranky wrong and defeating King K. Rool once again, after this journey, things calmed down for a while, until a giant airship, the Flying Croc, belonging to K. Rool, appeared and swiftly kidnapped Donkey Kong. Without the leader of the clan, Diddy and his girlfriend Dixie had no other option but to set out to rescue DK and once again teach King K. Rool and the Kremlings a lesson on their own turf, Crocodile Isle. Following their encounter and battle against Captain K. Rool, Donkey Kong was freed and joined them in the effort to sink the Flying Croc. However, this wasn't the end, as K. Rool relocated to the Lost World, where he eventually was defeated by Diddy and Dixie once again. K. Rool, though, was persistent, kidnapped Donkey Kong once again, and forced Diddy and Dixie to once again fight their way through Crocodile Island, but this time in 8 bits. You know how this ends. The celebration after defeating K. Rool in both the 16-bit and 8-bit realms lasted for months, until one day when both Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong disappeared in the northern Cremisphere. Left alone, she reached out to Funky Kong, who promised to aid her with any vehicle she would need in her search, and told Kiddy Kong to follow along her. Dixie and Kiddy jumped their way to Castle Chaos and defeated the robot inside the castle, which, no surprise to anyone, was controlled by Baron K. Rulenstein. Upon its destruction, Donkey and Diddy emerged out of the wreck and teamed up with Dixie and Kiddy. Even so, K. Rool escaped, forcing Dixie and Kiddy to chase after him to Krematoa and Nautilus. Sick of K. Rool's constant invasions and escapes, the Kongs approached the imprisoned Banana Queen and dispelled the barrier set by K. Rool after locating her children. Allied, the Kongs and the Banana Queen set out to trap K. Rulenstein in a giant egg. Infuriated by this humiliation, upon breaking loose from his imprisonment, K. Rulenstein and his Kremling underlings set out to ruin the Kongs' search for the Lost World by discovering it first and get his revenge on Dixie and Kiddy. Ultimately, K. Rulenstein reached the Lost World first, but it was to no avail as the giant croc was once again defeated by Dixie and Kiddy. Following the struggle against K. Rulenstein, the Kongs hosted the Jungle Jam Tournament, where the winner would leave with precious Donkey Kong medals. Just about when Cranky was to declare the festival open, King K. Rool stormed in and stole the main prize. To teach him once again a lesson, Cranky dispatched Donkey and Diddy, seeing as Dixie had gone through enough of trouble. They succeeded and beat K. Rool in his tournament, which didn't go well with the King of Crocs. King K. Rool attempted again by striking the banana alien Zanab and stole his crystal bananas. However, this initial success was cut short thanks to Donkey and Diddy Kong's effort. Diddy took part in a kart racing tournament. When King K. Rool later lost to the Kongs in the Racing Barrel Jungle Grand Prix, enough was enough. King K. Rool's patience had reached its breaking point, and as he turned more and more unstable from his constant failures, he finally decided to use his new weapon, the Blast-O-Matic, to blow up Donkey Kong Island. There was only one problem, as K. Rool had the absolute most incompetent minions. As such, Kremling drivers obviously managed to crash the ship on their way to the target. Disappointed, K. Rool needed a distraction to keep Donkey Kong away from the ship while it was being repaired, and kidnapped several of the Kongs: Diddy, Tiny, Chunky, and last but not least, Lanky Kong.
Here we go.
Meanwhile, Donkey Kong learned about the abduction from Squawks and set out to free the kidnapped apes. Aided by K. Rool, deserter Lumsy, and Funky Kong, DK was able to free more and more of his Kong buddies, acts that made an already tyrannic K. Rool turn more and more insane. By the time the Blast-O-Matic and K. Rool's ship had been repaired, the Kongs stormed the installation and deactivated it for good, forcing K. Rool to once again abandon deck on the Flying Croc. Being witness to the Flying Croc, Lumsy, who accidentally bring it down to the island, setting the stage for a final boxing ring confrontation between the Kongs and K. Rool. Upon dealing the final blow, K. Rool, as the coward he was, attempted to flee from the arena, but was tricked by Candy, Funky, and Cranky Kong, who sent him flying out of DK Island for good. DK and the Kongs celebrated, and the Kongs had a good time playing on bongos, and things settled down for a while, until some bad Kongs under the command of the Ghastly King wreaked havoc and stole all the bananas, which required Donkey Kong's heroic deeds to liberate the different lands and reclaim all bananas. After this brief conflict, Donkey Kong and the other Kongs experienced a time of relative peace, until one peaceful day on Kong Island quickly turned into chaos. As the volcano on the island erupted, the Tiki-Tak tribe emerged to hypnotize the island's animals and steal all the bananas. Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong went on a lengthy quest to the volcano to defeat the Tiki-Taks and their leader Tiki Tong, utilizing the power of the moon. Donkey Kong Island was once again safe and would remain so until Donkey Kong's 20th birthday. On that day, the Snow-Mad Vikings, under the command of Lord Frederick, decided to ruin the celebrations by blowing into a giant horn. Thus, he unleashed the Ice Dragon, which covered DK Island in ice and sent the Kongs flying. Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong, Dixie Kong, Cranky Kong, and Funky Kong ended up on the Lost Mangroves Island and were forced to cross 5 islands and a number of the Snow-Mad Enforcers on their way back to DK Island. After a long struggle, the Kongs finally made their way back home to confront Lord Frederick inside the depths of the volcano. After defeating him and sending him off with his fleet, Donkey Kong blew in the horn to restore the tropical climate to DK Island. You also have the Mario vs. Donkey Kong series. We had no idea where to place those games, as they could be tied to the original Donkey Kong, Cranky Kong, or modern-day Donkey Kong.
Come back here, you big monkey!
Anyways, we hope you all enjoyed Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze on the Nintendo Switch.
Hope you all enjoyed this timeline, guys. We have more videos coming on the way, so make sure to like this video, subscribe to be notified, and of course press the notification bell. And I also want to inform that I will be attending Retro Spillmessen as a VIP guest. We'll have a panel with Dexter Swede on May 12th at 12. Det vill säga Retro Spillmessen klockan 12, och då ska vi ha panel med Dexter Swede. And among the guests that also will be attending in Sandefjord, Norway, we have Charles Martinet, the voice of Mario, Wario, Luigi, Waluigi, and a bunch of other characters. We have Gerard the Completionist coming over once again, and we have Mr. Terry Diebold, who's coming with his one-of-a-kind Nintendo PlayStation prototype, which will actually be playable at Retro Spillmessen. One last thing, got some special giveaway from Nintendo, product provided of course by Nintendo of America, where we are giving away codes for Celeste, Fair, and Owlboy. You can enter our giveaway by clicking the link in the description down below. Until the next video, guys, this was Conrad of the Commonwealth Realm, and you will see Joseph with our game versus game review of Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze against Donkey Kong Country Returns.